Right, good afternoon. So since it's the first class, I must introduce the, whole syllabus, or at least we have to get an overview for the subject first. You know, some of you have experiences in grade 6 from grade 6 to grade 9. Some of you have learned that properly. Some of you may not have any experiences in those grades. So take this grade 10 as a new area, grade, and you have to understand everything from the beginning. So those who learned grade 6 to grade 9 may have some advantages, because from grade 6 to grade 9 you have learned some of the basic things in ICT. So here in grade 10 and 11, you need to get some advanced stuff related to those things that you learned in grade 6 to 9. So what I'm trying to say is, those who learned, or those who have some experiences in ICT from grade 6 to 9 may have some advantages, but nevertheless everyone should understand everything which has to be taught here in grade 10 as well as grade 11. Right. So since ICT is something different than the other subjects, because you know other subjects are taught from grade 6 to grade 9. You give the priority for them because they are very important. But here from grade 6 to grade 9, you know, ICT is taught as an optional subject. In most of the schools, this is not taken into consideration. So for that, since they do such thing, you might not give some importance for ICT, but from here you must give some importance for ICT, because it is one of the subjects that you have to sit in the exams, final exams, right? Okay, it is important, right? So since it's a new area, new unit, sorry, not new unit, new subject, I must give an overview for grade 10 ICT, not for grade 11. Let me give an overview for grade 10. So in grade 10, you have 9 units. So some of you might have seen that. So hope you have books, right? Some of you have books, or some of you may not, doesn't matter. So here you have 9 different units, right? From unit number 1 to unit number 9. So when we have 9 units, as an ordinary human being, you may think that it's a big area, because you know 9 is quite a big number. So we may think that we have plenty of stuff to study. Yes, you have 9 units, there is no doubt at all. But even though you have 9 units, those 9 units are actually divided from 3 different areas only. So we have only 3 different areas in grade 10. Those 3 different areas, or 3 areas, are divided into 9 fields, because for your convenient. Because if we include only 3 units, sometimes you may not understand them properly, because it looks like a bulk, or it looks like a huge unit. So that's why, for your convenient, those 3 units are divided or broken into 9 units. Okay, so remember, you have only 3 areas in grade 10. So if it is 3 area, you know, right, psychologically it will be very easy to study, because when we always count the numbers. So when it is 9, we may think that it is tough because we have plenty of stuff. But when it comes to 3, definitely psychologically it is one of the advantages. Okay, so you have only 3 units, but those 3 units are divided into 9 in your book. Okay, so let's take the units first, because since it's the first class, I'm not going to touch the subject matters directly. So let me take some time to give the overview and some basics. After that, we may step into the subject and take something today. I'm not going to take much stuff today. Let me give a small introduction for your first unit today. But before that, I should explain, or I should give an overview for the units. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, we have 9 units, right? So according to your syllabus, your first unit is fundamentals of ICT, right? Fundamentals of ICT. There may be different name in your book, doesn't matter. You know, titles are not matters, right? The facts within the title are matters, right? So there may be any name in your book, but I take it as fundamentals of ICT. Right. So in this unit, we need to learn some of the basics, some of the fundamentals about ICT. So see, when it comes to fundamentals of ICT, you should understand the term ICT. You should understand what ICT is. Some of you may have idea, some of you may not have idea. Even those who have idea about ICT may have a, I mean, different or wrong idea. So I will explain about those things, not now, little later. So here, for this moment, remember here in this unit, we need to learn some of the basics of ICT. So I'm not going to explain or elaborate those basics at this moment. Okay, so wait until I take them. So this is the first unit. In the second unit, it's we need to learn the fundamentals of computer. So here in the first unit, it's fundamentals of ICT. In the second unit, fundamentals of computer. So now you should realize that ICT is something different than computer. You know, your subject is not computer. You can't say that you learn computer. So, you know, computer science is something different than ICT. There may be connection, there may be relationship between ICT and computer, but they are different. So in the first unit, we will learn ICT basics. In the second unit, it's going to be computer basics, right? But later I will clarify everything, right? I will clarify the differences between ICT and computer. So it is fundamentals of computers. Okay, right. So then as a third unit, we will have to take a unit which is related to maths. It is not totally related to maths, but maybe majority of the stuff related to mathematics. So that may be called data representation. Data representation. Right, so data representations in computer. So in this unit, we have to study about how data are represented or how data are saved in computer. So we need to learn some of the mathematical related things. See, if it is image, for us that image looks like beautiful. Assume that you are watching or you are looking an image on your monitor. So for you that image looks like a colorful one. But that image is not saved in your computer in that particular manner, right? It is not saved as a beautiful, colorful one. But for us, it looks like that. It seems like that. But in the computer, definitely, it is saved in a different manner. So we will learn about those stuff, how the things are saved in. I take an image, even if it is a video. See, you know, video looks differently for us. It shows the colorful, I mean, visuals, and also you can hear the music, everything. But in fact, they are not in such format in the computer. So we will learn such things. That is called data representation. Mathematics comes there, right? So then unit number 4. So this is logic gates. So here there may be some electronic related things included. We will have to make some of the small circuits, maybe electric circuits, electronic circuits. So this is all about electronics. So maybe some basic things about physics, right? So this is unit number 4. Don't think much, right? When it comes to the word physics, it is not actually physics. Maybe a very basic thing about electronics, because electronics is a part of a physics, right? So that is unit number 4. Then unit number 5 is operating systems. Operating systems. Okay, I tell you one thing here. So when I list such names, some of you may have the feeling that they are already heard, because you come all the way from grade 6. some of you, studied everything from grade 6. Some of you, started studying from grade 7 or 8. But almost all these names were taught in your previous years. And most of you have, experiences. Even look here, operating systems is one of the familiar one in the previous classes. Even look here, logic gates, I think in grade 8, right? In grade 8, this was there. So all these things were there in the previous classes, but they were there as an introduction, only basic. But here it is a second step. We have to take some advanced things, right? So operating systems must be another unit. Then unit number 6, it is word processing software, right? Word processing software. It's a kind of a program or kind of software, like you see now you're participating in this class through Zoom application. That Zoom application is a kind of program, right? Kind of software. This is also similar. But Zoom application is for, conducting video conferencing or something. But this is for different purposes, right? So we will take the other things later. This is unit number 6. Then unit number 7 would be spreadsheet software, right? Spreadsheet software. Hope everyone remembers this, because in grade 9 you learn this, right? Grade 9 ICT subject or ICT units have such things. So you have some experiences. This would be our unit number 7. Then unit number 8 would be another software, presentation software. Right, so this is going to be presentation software. Right, finally, we have another software called database program or database software. Right, so these are the units listed in your book. As I said earlier, these may have different names in your book, right? So don't worry about such names. Facts or the contents are matters. So we have to understand the contents, not the titles. But I put some title which can reflect the content simply, right? That's why I use such names, but your book has different names. That's not a problem, right? Okay. So these are the 9 units listed, right? Now I come to the point now. So I already told you that we have 3 areas in grade 10. Those 3 areas have been divided into multiple, in fact, into 9, right? Okay, so this is how they are divided. Have a look at this. Here, these 2 units, first 2 units, here we have 2 units. So these 2 units, actually 1, right? Even though they are listed as 2 in your book, these 2 units can be combined as 1. This is my first unit or first area which I talked about. So this can be called fundamentals or basics of computers or ICT, basics of ICT, right? So don't worry about these names. Computer ICT, the word ICT includes the computer, so there is no issue. So these 2 areas can be combined together and named as basics of ICT. But for your convenience, for your benefit, that one unit or one area is divided into 2. Look at the 3rd and 4th. Data representation logic gates. I already told you that data representation means the format in which the data are represented in the computer. We should understand how the images or paragraphs or videos or whatever is kept in the computer. So that is the thing called data representation. So even in unit number 3 and unit number 4, we need to learn the internal structure. Maybe how the data are traveled, how the data are kept. So we need to learn such things. So it's all about unit number 3 and unit number 4, all about mathematical related stuff. So we can simply call them as mathematics for computing, right? Mathematics for computing. These two units, even though they have slight differences, but as a whole, I can take them as mathematical related things. We need to do computing, so we need some mathematical related technologies there. So they will be taught in unit number 3 and unit number 4. The rest of the units, which means unit number 5 to unit number 9. All these units are programs. All these areas, right, related to software. So this is nothing, this is software. Right, operating system is one of the software. Even word processing, spreadsheet, presentation, databases. So all of them are softwares. So we have only 3 things. We have basics or fundamentals of ICT. We have mathematics for computing, and also we have some softwares. Right, so these 3 areas are divided into 9 because for your convenience. Okay, right. So now see, you may think that I mean, showing or explaining such things sometimes not important, because you may feel that it is important to study the things directly. But when we start some new things, right? Because now you're about to begin or about to start a new grade, a new subject. So first of all, psychologically, you should be very good, right? So now when it comes to 9 units or 10 units, everyone, right? Psychologically, there is a disadvantage, right? Everyone can feel that it is slightly big, or it is a, I mean, it is a subject which has heavy weight, right? But when it comes to 3 units, right, everyone feels comfortable. Everyone feels that there are only few units. That makes you to pay much attention in the subject, right? That's the reason why I have taken such things. Okay, right. So far we have introduced the unit. So I have given an overview, and also I have shown the 3 areas, right? Okay. Before we step into the unit, I should tell you one more thing. Here, you have 9 units. Even though you have 9 units, not all the units are considered for your final exams, right? Which means grade 11 final exam, GC ordinary level final exams. So in GC ordinary level final exam, only few units are given importance in grade 10. In grade 11, most of the units are important, but in grade 10, in fact, 2 units are given importance. So these are the 2 units. Unit number 7, right? Unit number 7 must be very important, because there is a complete question in your final paper which can give you 10 marks, right? So in the second part, each question carries 10 marks. So if you are good in spreadsheet, you can easily obtain 10 marks. So remember, spreadsheet is one of the important units. And also this database, the last unit. So database also considered as one of the major areas in grade 10, right? So unit number 7 and unit number 9 are given priorities for final exam, right? But in the other units, there may be questions asked in MCQ, maybe even in second part, but not for, I mean, more marks, maybe 1 mark, 2 mark questions can be asked, right? As a student, try paying attention to all the units, but unit number 7 and unit number 9 can give you more marks, right? So we must pay more attention in both units. Okay, right. Right, so hereafter, with this introduction, we can step into the first unit and take some basics. As I said earlier, I'm not going to, I mean, teach much stuff in every class. Maybe very few things within that particular hour, right? Maybe 1 hour, we will learn only few things. But even though we learn few things, those must be very very important, and also we must remember everything. And also I tell you one more thing. See, while I'm teaching, while you're sitting during the class, now things are going online, but if it is a normal class, so try understanding everything once you are in the class, right? At the time when you are studying, or when you are in the class, try understanding everything, right? That is more than enough. You don't need to go back home and I mean refer the things. That is not important for me. So if you are listening to me clearly, if you are listening to me carefully, that's more than enough. Things will be in your mind while you are at the class, right? There is no need for taking them again and studying. Okay, right? Even this can be possible for online class, right? Look here. So if you have doubts, right, when I'm teaching, you can ask, you have the freedom to ask. Sometimes it is tough to answer in the middle of the teaching, because while I'm teaching, sometimes it is tough. But if you have doubts, or if you have questions to be asked, you can ask verbally, because I feel uncomfortable in checking those text messages and answering. So if you want to ask any questions, right, you can unmute your microphone. So you have the freedom to unmute and ask. But maybe at the end of the class, I try to allocate some minutes for asking the question. But if you feel that it is important to ask at the time, at the point of time, it is also possible. But try asking verbally, right? Then only I can easily answer. Reading those text messages and answering sometime, I mean, a little difficult, right? Okay. Right. So straight away we can go to the first unit, fundamentals of ICT. Right. Look. So as the title implies, we all can understand that it's going to be basic things, right? Fundamental things about information and communication technology. But the question is, what is ICT? Because without understanding the term ICT, we cannot understand, or we cannot go into the fundamentals. So you may think that ICT is something related to computer, or something related to modern devices or something. Maybe your assumption is correct, but you know the term ICT has a wide meaning, has a meaning which needs to be explained, right? So it is not only computer, it is not only mobile phone or smartphone. So the term ICT needs a meaningful definition. But I'm not going to explain that term ICT at this moment, because in order to understand the term ICT, you need to understand some of the words, or maybe terms, and some background things. So without understanding such backgrounds, it is extremely difficult to understand the term ICT. So let me give, I will take some time first, right, to introduce such words, needed words and phrases and terminologies. Once they are explained, then we will go back and take the ICT. But the, 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 the procedure, or maybe the correct way, is to explain ICT and then start the fundamentals. But the problem is, without understanding the term ICT, you cannot take the fundamentals, right? That's why I have to take some of the terms to be introduced in order to understand the word ICT. Okay, right. So today I'm not going to explain the term ICT, or I'm not going to define that word. Wait until I take it, right? Not today, maybe in the next class, right? So prior to that ICT, we need to understand some of the terms. Of course, those terms might be familiar to you, because as I said earlier, you came all the way from grade 6, right? So you may have some background. So these are the two words to be remembered first. In fact, you have to understand them properly. So let me introduce those two terms first. So we have two terms, data, information. Right? So data, information, these two words must be well understood. If you understand them clearly, if you are able to differentiate them clearly, if you are able to take some examples for both data and information, then it's a time to go back and take the term ICT, right? So first of all, we should understand. Look, these two terms, data, information, seem to be well-known terms. In our day-to-day conversation, we often use these terms. So your teacher might say that so your teacher might instruct someone to collect the students' data. That is a common dialogue in the class, right? So data collection is always there in your class. So you are familiar with the word data. So sometimes you might have uh, inform some other student to pass some information to the others. You can ask your friend to pass a message to the others or pass an information to the others. So even the word information is also used in our day-to-day life dialogues. But there is a significant difference between data and information. They are not same. They are differences. Even the term data has its own meaning. The word information has a different meaning. So we should understand these two things first, right? But not these two words, data and information, are related to computer. Okay, these are related to computer, but these are not only related to computer, these are related to every field. Even as a student, you use these words, data, information, right? As a family member, you may use such words. As a teacher, I can use it. So these two words are not bound within computer. This is not a single small circle. This is a big word, and it can be used in a wide range of areas, right? So let me introduce them. If does anyone have any idea? So as I told you earlier, if you have any ideas, or even if you have questions, ask me, because sometimes in online teaching, explaining everything continuously sometimes doesn't work good. So if you have questions, or if you have ideas, you can exchange them. Right, before I continue, anyone who has ideas about data information, what is data and what is information? Any ideas? You can speak, right? Doesn't matter. Anyone? What is the difference between data and information? Or what is data? What is information? Anything? All right, look. So let me define the term data and information first, but I'm not going to define them perfectly, but I try to give an idea for them first, right? For both data and information. But later, after giving some examples for data and information, I try to polish my answer, polish my definition, right? But now the definition seems to be very short and seems to be meaningless, but later we can modify that, we can polish that, right? Listen. Data, data plural, right? Data is a singular word, data plural. So data are unprocessed things. This is enough at this moment, right? If you have some things in unprocessed format, they must be called data. Unprocessed things are data. Simply in English, raw materials. You know that word, right? Raw material. Raw material means they are not involved in any processes. So if you have anything, it may be anything. It may be a food item, or it may be numbers, it may be text. Later I will take those different areas. So unprocessed things are called data, right? So this idea is enough for this moment, but definitely I will polish that later. Okay, right? When data are processed in a meaningful way, when the data are processed, they become as information. I repeat it, they are as unprocessed materials. But when the data are processed, you know, they are involved in some actions, right? So when they are processed, they become as information. Again, the definition for information is very brief. This is not a proper definition. I will definitely modify later. So now you may get the feeling that the data are before process, because they are unprocessed things, so it must be before processed. Information is nothing, it's a processed data because it is obtained after process. So definitely information should be after process, right? So process in the middle, before process you have data, after process you have information. So keep this idea because this is very important to understand the whole stuff, right? So with this understanding, let me take a simple example to understand the rest of the stuff, right? So keep watching. I will take a simple example. Right, look here. I told you that data are unprocessed things about anything, right? But the term anything will be elaborated later, right? I will tell you the things which can be included in that particular term anything, right? So, okay. Let's take a simple example. See, okay, let's make cake, right? So it's going to be how to make a cake, right? So this may be the common example we often take because when we take some day-to-day life example, people can easily understand, students can easily understand. So I'm going to take a very familiar thing, making a cake, right? This is my aim, making a cake, right? Right, so for making a cake, you need ingredients, right? You can understand that you need some ingredients. So let me list some of the ingredients, right? I'm not going to take all these things because I'm taking these ingredients only for explaining the things, so only for demonstration. So let me take some of the ingredients. Right, so I can take wheat flour, right? Yes, sugar can be there. Yes, egg can be there, eggs. Even margarine, right? Water, there may be many, right? Listen to me carefully, right? This is my task, making a cake. So in order to make a cake, in order to prepare cake, I need ingredients. I need plenty of ingredients, but I have taken some of the most commonly used ingredients, right? Wheat flour or sugar or eggs or margarine, right? Water, something, right? Right, now I got these ingredients. You know, these ingredients can also be called inputs, right? These can be called inputs because these things have been brought into the task, right? Into the process. So I have been brought them. Sorry, I have brought them, right? So they are inputs, right? Now I have these ingredients. So what is going to the next step? So now I need to process them. I must process them. There may be more than one processes. I'm not going to take all the processes, but let me take two major processes which can be performed in making cakes, right? So let me take the second column as process, right? So we all know that these things must be mixed, right? We have to mix them well. So mixing is one of the processes, mixing. Have you understood? You have eggs, you have wheat flour, you have sugar, you have water, you have margarine. So you cannot keep them as they are because they are raw materials, right? They are unprocessed things. They are existing in their normal shape, right? Normal format. So now you need to involve them in processing. So this is one of the major processes that you have to perform, right? Mixing. Not once things are mixed, you need to bake them, right? So baking also there. So that is next one. Okay. So there may be more than 2 processes, but I have taken the most important processes, right? Mixing, baking. So you brought the ingredients and then you involve them in processes. You know, as a result of the process, there is an outcome, or even I can say there is a result, right? So we will have a result there because things are involved in a process. Definitely there is a result, right? So I can write that result as output, or even okay, better write result. This is a result, or in other words, it's an output. So here the output is the cake. Right now you can't say that it's a wheat flour or sugar or egg, right? You have taken them at the beginning, right? But now things changed because they have been involved in processing. You did the baking, you did the mixing, so now things changed. So now as a result you got cake. Have you understood? So now the task making a cake is divided into 3 columns. In the first column, we have ingredients which are needed for cake. In the middle column, you have the processes need to be performed. And in the last column, you have the final outcome. You have the final output, that is result. Okay, now listen to the definition for data and information again, right? I told you that data are raw materials, unprocessed materials about anything, right? Okay. Wheat flour, sugar, eggs, margarine, these are unprocessed things. These are not engaged in any processes, right? So, of course, these ingredients or these inputs are what? These are data. Have you understood? These are all of these are data because they are not involved in any processes. They are existing in their normal normal status, right? So we can say that they are raw materials, right? So definitely they are data because according to the definition, data means unprocessed things, right? These materials are processed. We mixed, we baked, okay? The process. As a result of the process, you got the cake. I mentioned that as output or result. Now listen to the definition for information. What did I mention anything? What did I mention about information? So when data are processed, they become information. Or simply, processed data is information, right? Processed data, information. Look here. This is a big circle, right? I have a big circle because I have plenty of, things. But now I can draw a small circle because I have only cake. You know, both are same, right? Here, the things which are on the left side, similar to the thing which are on the right side. But the difference is here you have unprocessed things, so that's why it looks big, right? But here everything is processed, so when things are processed, it became small, right? So it is also same. So what is it? It is called information, unprocessed data, right? Here these things are processed and become as cake. You know, wheat flour also there, sugar also there, eggs. So it is very simple. Cake is information in this example. So now if you compare the definition with this example, you can understand everything, right? So I take the definitions again. Unprocessed things are called data. So here in this example, all these materials are not processed, so they are data. Processed data is information, or even we can say when data are processed, they become information, right? So here, the cake is an information because cake is obtained after performing such processes. Have you understood? So in this case, our data and also our information related to food item, right? So here, look here, everything is data, they are food items. Here it is information, that is food item. So that's the reason why I already told you, data are not restricted to number or right, text or image or, so it beyonds that mark. Even food item can be data. That may be the reason why I briefly, define the term data as unprocessed things about anything, right? That anything includes food item. Not only food item, there may be many, but I will take them or list them later. Okay. So hope you understood such example. This may be the first example given for data and information, but definitely I will take more example later, because whenever we have examples, we can understand the terms, right? So examples are very important, not only for data and information. In ICT, almost for all the areas, examples are very helpful. When examples are understood, things can easily be remembered, right? So here, this is my first example for data and information, right? So from this example, we can take conclusion. Look here. Right. So from this example, we can take an important conclusion here. You have ingredients on the left side. So I told you that they are inputs. So they are data. Right? Data, they are always inputs. So then what happened? These data were involved in processes. Okay, so data must be involved in process. Okay, as a result of the process, you got the output that is called information. So here it must be information. It is output. So try remembering this connection, this relationship, right? So we receive the data in unprocessed manner, then we process them. So once they are processed, they become as information. So it is very simple. Before process, it's going to be data. After process, it's going to be information. It suits for any example, not only for cake example, right? I can take plenty of examples. So in all these examples, you can check whether the data are before processes and information is after processes. Okay, so hope you have understood such example, better understand, right? Even if you don't understand those definitions for data and information, I don't worry, I don't feel, but try understanding my first example, right? You must understand why these are called data. Wheat flour, sugar, margarine, what's the reason for calling them as data? That must be well understood. And also you should understand the second one, cake, right? Why cake is an information? What's the reason for taking that as information? That is important. So if you are able to understand these two things, definitely I can confirm that you can understand the data and information. But yet the data and information are not completed. It needs to be modified, it needs to be polished, it needs plenty of examples, right? So before I take such example, let me show one thing. Right, look here. So these are the units which I explained earlier. So let's have a look at them again. You have Unit 1, Fundamentals of ICT, Unit 2, Fundamentals of Computers, Unit 3, Data Representation, Unit 4, Logic Gates, Unit 5, Operating Systems, Unit 6, Word Processing Software, Unit 7, Spreadsheet, Unit 8, Presentation, and Unit number 9, Databases. Okay. Yes, we started the fundamentals of ICT. I explained this one, but later I will. Okay, I'm not going to show that. Sorry, I'm not going to show this definition at this moment, because I have included some phrases there. So definitely you have to wait until I explain such definitions, right? Since it is the first class, I try to, wind up little earlier because I feel that it is important to have an introduction for the first class. I cannot, give plenty of stuff in the first class. Sometimes you may feel that it is difficult. So I have explained the data and information, and also I have differentiated them. More importantly, I introduced one example for showing data and information, right? Hope you all understood that example, and with that help of example, you could easily understand the terms data and information, right? Okay. So before we finish things off, I tell you one thing. Here, I may use both whiteboard and the presentation, right? I'm keeping a computer in front of me, so I switch all the time from board to computer because I feel that something needs to be shown on the monitor as a presentation or something. So in some cases that is important. It can easily reach you. And in some cases, I need to write something because, writing and explain the thing also very important for some areas. So I will use both things. I have to switch from one to another. Definitely, maybe at the end of every class, maybe at the end of 2 classes, I will send these tutorials, maybe soft copies, PDF files or presentations through that particular group. Please try writing them in an exercise book. Yes, you can take the printout and keeping, that's of course right. But sometimes if it is written manually, at the time when things are written, you can understand. So I try to encourage such areas. So keep an exercise book and try writing things. Today I didn't, teach much. So there is no need for writing things today. But definitely from the next class, keep an exercise book and try writing everything in your book. If you want print out, it's up to you to take it, right? That's enough. That's okay, right? But I need things in a handwritten format. Okay, right. So any doubts to be asked in today's very short area? Even I have given an introduction earlier. So if you have any doubts, ask me. The timetables, the times will be, informed later because I have to finalize them because it must be a convenient time to you. So definitely it never affects you. There will be a convenient time allocated. So except those time issues, ask me any other doubts. If you have any other doubts, ask me. All right. You can speak. There is no problem at all. If you have doubts, boys or girls, if you have doubts, ask me. Right. So since no questions asked, I hope that things are understood. You don't have any problems at all. So, right. So with this, we can conclude today's lesson, and definitely I will inform the timetables as soon as possible, and we can meet in the next class. Right. Okay. Thank you.